Hi, I'm Zeus Caravella. Most of you know me as the principal analyst and founder of ZK Research, but today I'm filling the role as host of eSPEAKS, and I'm pretty excited about that. Normally I get interviewed by Chris Preimesberger, but today I'm going to take his role. And I'm delighted to be with a person I know well, John Maddison from Fortinet. So John, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hi, Zeus, and hello to everybody. It's great to be on here.
There's going to be a lot of people watching this. So Fortinet's an interesting company. You are arguably one of the top, if not the top, security vendors and networking vendors in the industry. Most people don't know this about Fortinet, but you're actually a leader in 8 Gartner Magic Quadrants, and I'm not sure any other vendor can claim that. You're in others. So give us a bit of a description of Fortinet and kind of the breadth of offerings and what it is exactly you do.
Yes. Well, I want to be modest, but Fortinet's definitely one of the biggest cybersecurity companies out there. We span quite a few different cybersecurity areas, but we're also very comfortable in the networking side. So, we're a leader in network security, as well as a leader in SD-WAN or WAN Edge. And I think that's great that we can be a leader in these markets and these technologies. But what we really focus on is using the same platform to do it. And so for both of those Magic Quadrants, for example, we use the same product, the same OS, the same management console, the same API. And I think that makes a big difference for the customer. And what we're seeing is this converged space happening really quickly. So Fortinet, I think we're 8,000 people now. We're based in the US. We're mainly a US development organization, actually biggest in Canada. And I think we've just passed 5 million shipments of firewalls. I think we ship more firewalls than our nearest 3 competitors combined each quarter, and approaching, I think, almost 280,000 of customers.
Now, one of the unique differentiators for Fortinet is the fact that you guys actually spin your own silicon. I know there's 2 schools of thought in the networking and security industry. One is you can use merchant silicon. One is that you can spin your own silicon. And this is consistent with everything I've always written in this space, that a lot of, if you do make your own silicon, you actually get some price performance advantages. So tell me a little bit about, your NP7 and how that gives you guys an advantage.
Yeah, we're probably the only company that actually design our own chips, ASICs, security processing units, as we call them. We use off-the-shelf CPUs and off-the-shelf switches, but we're the only company to design our own chips for specific applications. And the principle is very similar to, gaming systems and GPUs, where you offload the CPU so the CPU can do more things and you can really focus on that rendering. But the same for our security processing units, where, for example, our new network processor 7 is a 200 gig firewall in its own right on a chip. And it does a lot of the firewalling functions very, very fast without the CPU even having to pay attention to it in some ways. And so that's our focus there. We've got a content processor that does that for things like SSL inspection. And then we also developed a specific chip for SD-WAN to make sure that SD-WAN processors are running very fast in a very good form factor. So yeah, we invest in that very heavily. I think the industry I think everybody in the industry, if you look at Microsoft, Google, Apple, everyone's developing their own silicon to give you that performance. What it also gives us is the ability to run multiple applications. So yes, we can run things very fast, but what we can also run is SD-WAN and SSL inspection, next-gen firewall, stateful firewalling on the same device. Now, we also run the same operating system in a virtual machine and in cloud as well. So if you want more flexibility, or if you want something to spin up and down or across, then we can run the same functions in different form factors. But definitely the ASIC approach gives us a huge advantage in terms of performance and applications.
And it also gives you a big price advantage as well, too. I know whenever I talk to customers about Fortinet, they're always shocked that the products you offer perform as well or better than your competitors, but the price is always quite a bit lower. And so that price performance advantage is also from the silicon too, I assume, right?
Yeah, customers welcome that, in that they're always increasing the volume, the throughput rates. They're always adding applications. It's not going the other way. And so they definitely welcome that ability. Again, it's not just that performance, the ability to run several applications. They can get rid of different point solutions and converge everything into a single solution.
Now, one of the terms that you've been using, that Fortinet's been using, is something called security-driven networking. I think it's a relatively new concept, and I'm interested in it because historically, security teams and network teams have generally been two different silos. It's crazy because often they can use the same set of data, but they refuse to sometimes. But I am seeing more and more of them come together because so much of businesses now, you could argue that for most businesses, the network is the business, right? So you need to secure things from the network up. So tell our listeners a little bit about what security networking is and how they can use it to benefit them.
Yeah, well, that's the foundation. We're actually 20 years old this month, Fortinet. And right from the start, the company was really focused on this concept of convergence and security-driven networking, bringing networking and security together and then accelerating it. And I thought initially it was just maybe because I was doing a lot of online calls now, and the CISO and the CIO teams were on the same call and they're interacting. But I think it's definitely starting to see more collaboration. And you're right, it's extremely important. Whereas companies go to this digital world, the user experience or device experience is very important. And so if you haven't got a network that's very high availability, very fast, and very secure, then you're not going to succeed in your digital journey. So I think CIOs and CISOs realize this. They need to architect things together from day one to be fast and secure.
Yeah, I guess that's the other SDN, right? Security-driven networking. I'm going to pivot back to the first SDN that the industry started talking about, that software-defined networking, and that gave rise to SD-WAN. Now, the industry seems to be pivoting to something called SASE, which stands for Secure Access Service Edge, which is really the convergence of security and networking. I know Fortinet, you're very strong in both. In fact, I believe this week, Managed Service Provider Masergy just announced that they're building their entire SASE security portfolio on Fortinet equipment. So, tell us about what you're doing in SD-WAN and SASE, and how your portfolio has evolved that way.
Yep, this is another acronym for the pot, SASE.
Yeah, we love acronyms in networking, don't we?
I know. Let's get another acronym. Again, the two basic principles, well, Gartner's SASE at least, are convergence, networking and security, and then a platform approach. And so, again, to us, this convergence is really, really important for customers. But it also says to me and to us that what's happening are these edges are forming in the network. So this is the WAN edge, okay? We've had a data center edge for a long time. We're also now SASE kind of really, if you look at what's behind SASE, it's more secure web gateway as a service. That's what it really is. So that's a cloud edge or proxy edge. We're going to see home edge. We'll see the LAN edge, as more devices are coming on the network. And so all these edges need protecting. And the best way to do that is through a converged solution, a secure Wi-Fi, a secure WAN edge, a secure cloud edge, secure data center edge. And so the concept here is security everywhere. You've got to put security in all these edges, and you've got to be able to run it very fast and very securely.
Now, there are some vendors that will tell you that SASE is only cloud-delivered security. So are we starting to see the demise of the premises-based security, or are there still use cases for that?
I think it needs to be hybrid. I hear customers say, well, we're 100% cloud. Well, are you living in the cloud? I don't think you're living in the cloud. You've still got a campus. You've still got a physical world you kind of live in. I think it pays to be more flexible, because here's an example I give straight away. We've got some manufacturing customers who are building out edge compute. Why do you build edge compute? You have very low latency and large amounts of data that you can't just get from the cloud very easily. And so what we're going to do, are you going to send that security for that edge compute back to the cloud? And remember, so you've just broken your principle. So you need to be able to put that security everywhere, whether it be on the edge, cloud edge, data center edge, edge compute. So you need that flexibility to put it everywhere, because it's going to be different use cases and different requirements of the application running.
Yeah, maybe this is just another case of some of the networking security.
I will say the reason why it has, some people say it has to be in the cloud, because they just throw a lot of compute at it, and that's how they do it. I don't think it's particularly efficient, the way to do it that way sometimes. But yeah, you can hide the fact you're using a lot of compute to try and do something that shouldn't take that much.
But I think if you're right, even all the major cloud computing vendors now have their own edge platforms, their own on-premises hybrid platforms. And so if the cloud giants are doing that, then that should tell everybody that's going to be the way, and you need to secure that way. So so thanks for that. And I do agree with that. I've talked to some large enterprises where they've thought about doing all cloud security, but the amount of inspection traffic going from a large office to the cloud is actually more than their data traffic. So, that sort of tells you the appliance lives on. I want you to put a bit of your prognosticator hat on, John. We're almost at the end of 2020. Thank God, right? We got 2021 coming. And one of the big topics across every industry is always artificial intelligence. And what kind of impact do you think AI will have on networking and security? And what are some of the things we should be looking for?
Yeah, well, there's another overhyped term, artificial intelligence. I think it goes in two areas. The first area for us is obviously the security side, where what we want to be able to do is predict security attacks, targeted attacks. And so right now, we're probably more in the machine learning area, where we're taking a large amount of data, whether it be good or bad file. A good example is good or bad files, passing a file through and getting a result out. Pretty accurate results if that's a good or bad file. But that's kind of more focused machine learning. What we really want to get to is apply some AI principles across all that data and say, is there a campaign running in somewhere where we can break that infection chain and get that information out? So I think AI for security is in its first few steps, the longer term steps next year after, we start to kind of build an idea of how campaigns are running in the wild. The other piece of it is network operations. So I get this comment all the time around, well, we'll get it at home. Well, the internet's down. Well, I don't think the internet's down. Maybe the Wi-Fi is not working, or maybe the SD-WAN's broken. Maybe the application's slow. I don't know what it is. And so the AI NetOps, I see some people bringing out some AI NetOps against single pieces. What's really critical is to bring it out across the whole end-to-end network, so that you can understand exactly why the internet is down, and then apply some self-healing type technologies to change the ISP, bring up another AP, change out the SSID, whatever it may be. And so I think that's going to be a big area going forward, because it comes back to the digital experience. If you've got a bad digital experience, you're going to go somewhere else.
All right, you heard it here first then from John Maddison. AI overhyped, but coming, and it will have a big impact, I think, down the road. So, but people just need to be, I think, realistic with what it can and can't do.
Yeah.
So that we're actually sort of at the end of our time, and I wanted to thank you, John. I think that was great. On behalf of John Maddison from Fortinet, I'm Zeus Caravallo from ZK Research, and I'll see you next time, and have a great rest of your eWEEK.
Thanks for joining us on eWEEK eSpeaks. Go to eWEEK.com to hear more conversations with IT thought leaders.